Japan's national broadcaster NHK says Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is set to resign. NHK says Mr. Abe wants to avoid causing problems to the government due to a worsening of his chronic health condition. Speculation about the Prime Minister's health and tenure have been swirling after he made 2 visits to a hospital recently. Michio Ishida joining us now with more on this. Michio, what can you tell us about Mr. Abe's specific health condition and the conversations that I'm sure are surrounding this issue now?
Yes, well, Mr. Shinzo Abe, he's been witnessed going to the hospital twice this month. One day, he spent over 7.5 hours, and this raised speculations that he has redeveloped gastrointestinal inflammation. Now, that was the reason for him to step down when he served as prime minister from 2006 to 2007. And he's been actually seeing trouble with intestine inflammation since he was a teenager. But that was aggravated when, as prime minister back in 2008, the LDP lost the upper house election. It was just this Monday that he broke the consecutive days records as prime minister, breaking the record held by his great uncle, Eisaku Sato. And he told reporters at that time that he would commit himself to do his best as prime minister. So this sudden news that he might step down, coming from now all major media in Japan, has come as a big surprise.
Now, as you mentioned, it's not the first time the Prime Minister has had to step down due to health concerns. Does this make it easier to navigate the changes that need to follow?
Well, I don't know if we can say if they'll make things any easier, because it's going to be pretty messy. Now the Liberal Democratic Party will have to call for elections, party election, to choose a new president. You see, if Mr. Abe were to continue to be in office as expected, he was supposed to stay until September next year. That was when his party president term was expected to end, and then a successor was expected to be elected. But now they have to do this way earlier than they planned, so it's going to be pretty messy. And we've been hearing that lots of LDP members are surprised to hear that Mr. Abe wants to step down.
The frenzied speculation is weighing heavily as well on the markets with all this talk of succession. How's that likely to proceed?
Okay, well, we have to first find out what kind of format the Liberal Democratic Party will take to choose or to elect a new president. Will it be all party members casting their ballots, which will take a lot of time, perhaps 12 days? Or will they just have election among the parliamentarians? This will be way shorter. It will happen very quickly. But then who will win the election will make a difference on the format of the way the election is handled. If it's a nationwide LDP election, then the speculation is that Shigeru Ishiba, who was Secretary General of the LDP and who was also Defense Minister, he is likely to win because he has strong public support. But he doesn't have enough party support among parliamentarians. Meanwhile, Fumio Kishida, he was a foreign minister. He seems to be a top favorite for Mr. Shinzo Abe to become his successor. But he doesn't have enough public support. So we have to wait and see what happens. It's just speculation at this moment, and we really don't know who is going to be Mr. Abe's successor.